All right, everybody, buckle up. Because today, we're diving into something pretty powerful.
Yeah,
This is the kind of stuff that can really shift how you see challenges.
definitely.
It's all about turning those obstacles, those roadblocks, into advantages
Definitely.
and to guide us.
Yeah,
We've got Ryan Holiday's The Obstacle is the Way.
great book.
Seriously, this book is packed with insights. And to make it even better,
Yeah,
we're going to be weaving in some captivating historical examples.
absolutely.
And listen, we get it. You're
Yeah,
busy, you want the good stuff.
of course.
So we've distilled everything down to help you navigate those roadblocks life throws your way.
Absolutely. It's about giving you practical tools.
Exactly. Tools you can actually use. So ready to jump in?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Holiday really makes you rethink your entire relationship with obstacles.
Right. Like, it's not about pretending they don't exist.
No, yeah, not at all.
It's more about,
Yeah.
finding the hidden potential within them.
Exactly. That's the key.
He tells this great Zen story, actually,
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
about a king, right? And this king, he puts this massive boulder right smack in the middle of the road.
Just to see what people would do.
Yeah, like a social experiment almost.
Totally. And most people, they get discouraged, They complain, they give up.
They're like, ugh, seriously, a boulder.
Exactly. But then there's this one peasant.
Okay, here we go.
And this peasant, they see something totally different instead of an obstacle.
Yeah. They see it as a stepping stone. They actually use the boulder to reach resources they couldn't before.
It's such a powerful illustration of how our perception really shapes our reality.
It's not about pretending the obstacle isn't there.
No, it's about choosing how we see it, how we choose to interact with it.
And that actually reminds me of something Holiday talks about.
What's that?
This idea that obstacles are like unexpected detours or even guides.
Interesting.
They may not be the path we planned on, but they can lead us to places we never even imagined.
It's like those scenic routes, right? Sometimes they're even better than the original plan.
Totally. And ultimately, they end up shaping our journey towards our goals, even if it's not how we pictured it.
Exactly. It's not about denying the reality of the challenge,
Right.
but about choosing how we perceive it, how we engage with it.
Because often, let's be real, our initial reaction, it's usually rooted in fear.
Oh, absolutely. Anxiety, preconceived notions, all that baggage comes with us.
So are you saying we need to hit the reset button in our brains when things go sideways?
Exactly. Think about the Blitzkrieg strategy in World War II.
Okay.
Initially, this totally new way of fighting, it terrified the Allied forces.
I can't even imagine that would be terrifying.
They saw this unstoppable force, and it just triggered this fear response.
Oh, for sure.
But General Eisenhower,
Okay.
instead of panicking, he does something incredible. He reframed the whole situation.
Really?
He told his generals they would only discuss the possibility of defeat with cheerful faces, refused to let fear control their actions.
Wow. Talk about a mindset shift.
Right?
He literally chose not to see it as an unbeatable obstacle.
Yeah,
And that changed everything.
absolutely. And instead of being ruled by their fear,
Wow.
they started dissecting the strategy's weaknesses. And that's how the Allies were able to turn the tables,
Wow.
exploiting the Blitzkrieg's reliance on speed and aggression,
It's smart.
and circling the enemy at battles like the Falaise Pocket, for example.
So it's about asking yourself, what am I choosing to not see right now in this challenging situation?
Yes. And what assumptions am I making?
Because we all have those biases.
We do. And here's the even bigger question. How can I leverage this situation to my advantage?
Even if it seems like the worst thing ever.
Especially then. Because sometimes the biggest obstacle is our own perception. We get stuck in that why me mentality.
It's so easy to fall into that trap.
Right. But what if instead we channel the energy of someone like, oh, I don't know, baseball legend Tommy John?
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
The guy played 26 seasons alongside legends from different eras. And he did it by constantly asking himself and everyone around him one crucial question. Is there a chance? Do I have a shot? Is there something I can do?
He was searching for that agency, that control.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of being bogged down by what he couldn't change,
He focused on what he could,
his preparation, his mindset, his effort.
seeking agency within limitations. That's powerful.
Absolutely. It's actually a core principle of Stoicism, distinguishing between what you can control
Right.
and what you can't.
And focusing your energy on what you can influence.
Makes you infinitely more effective, even when facing those impossible situations.
Which, let's be real. Life throws a lot of those at us.
It does, but that's where this mindset shift becomes so crucial.
It's like that's the perfect bridge to the next big thing, action.
Absolutely.
Because it's not enough to just shift your mindset.
Right, you got to do something with it.
Right. We got to take that shift and turn it into, like, concrete steps.
Exactly. Turn that thought into action.
And Holiday uses this great story about Demosthenes
Oh, yeah, Demosthenes.
to really hammer this home.
Yeah.
The Athenian orator.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. He had, like, a really bad speech impediment.
Right. But he didn't let that stop him.
No, not at all.
He actually used it
He did.
to his advantage.
He practiced, like, with pebbles in his mouth, relentlessly just honing his skill, honing his craft.
He turned what most people would see as a weakness
Absolutely.
into a strength.
Yeah, and he became one of the most, I don't know, like, influential figures of his time.
But somebody asked him,
Oh, yeah.
like, what's the key? What's the secret to being a good speaker?
Give me the good stuff, right?
And he keeps it so simple, right? He's like, action, action, action.
It's so true, though, right? You can't just talk about it.
Right.
You gotta do it.
But sometimes those actions, I don't know about you, but they can feel overwhelming,
Oh, yeah.
especially when that obstacle just seems massive.
Totally. You get that deer in the headlights feeling.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And that's where this idea of the process comes in.
The process, okay.
And Holiday, he gets this from Nick Saban,
Oh, the football coach.
legendary football coach, yeah.
Yeah.
Built this incredible dynasty.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So break it down for me.
Okay, so Saban, his approach is all about focusing on the immediate task at hand.
Okay, so not the big picture.
No. Not the championship, not the end goal, but that next step. He'd tell his players, like, don't even think about winning the championship right now.
Interesting.
Focus on this drill, this play, this moment.
So it's about taking that massive, overwhelming obstacle.
Right.
And like, what's that saying? How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
There you go.
Exactly. Break it down into those manageable pieces.
Instead of getting frozen by how big it is.
You take that first step, and then the next, and the next.
And it reminds me of that story about James Pollard Espy.
I don't know that one. Tell me more.
So this guy, he couldn't read until he was 18 years old.
Wow, really?
But he hears this speech by Henry Clay.
Okay.
And he is so moved, so inspired,
Yeah.
that he decides he's going to learn to read.
Even though it seemed impossible.
Even though it seemed impossible.
Wow, that takes guts.
And he couldn't even, after the speech, he couldn't even talk to Clay because he couldn't read.
Oh, man.
And so his friend explains to Clay,
Yeah.
this guy, he's so inspired by you, he wants to be like you.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And Clay, right,
Yeah.
legend that he is,
Yeah.
points to a letter. He's like, you see that, that's an A. You've only got 25 more to go.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't that great?
So good. Yeah.
And this guy, Espy, he goes on to become this pioneering meteorologist.
Get out of here.
It's such a beautiful illustration of breaking down a seemingly impossible obstacle
right.
into its simplest form.
Just those small steps. Yeah.
And it's a great reminder that we can achieve almost anything, right?
Yeah.
If we shift our focus from that big, scary end goal
Right.
to the process, to the individual steps.
Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes those steps, they might lead us down these unexpected paths. So we have to be flexible and creative.
So you're saying even with the perfect mindset and a solid plan,
Oh, yeah.
sometimes life throws a curveball.
It always does. Right.
Yep.
It never goes exactly according to plan.
So what happens when we hit that wall? When we've done all the things and we still face a setback, what do we do then?
Well, that's where we have to get comfortable with the unexpected. Embrace those detours.
So it's like, instead of freaking out,
Right.
we need to get curious.
Exactly. Like, okay, this is interesting. What now?
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, because Holiday talks about this a lot, about finding those unconventional paths to victory, especially when the obstacle seems impossible to overcome.
So thinking outside the box, finding those creative angles that other people might miss.
Exactly. He uses this great example of George Washington's military tactics during the Revolutionary War.
Okay, yeah.
So instead of like facing the British head on, which would have been like disastrous, right?
Oh, for sure.
He's like, all right, we're going to do strategic retreats, surprise attacks. They exploited weaknesses in the British defenses.
Like that whole crossing the Delaware River on Christmas Day thing.
Exactly. I mean, talk about thinking outside the box. Nobody expected that.
Such a great story.
It's like a judo move,
Okay.
using your opponent's strength against them. Holiday actually brings up Jigoro Kano,
Oh, yeah, I know.
the founder of judo.
Yeah.
And he was famous for beating like much larger opponents
How do you do that?
by using their own weight against them.
It's about being resourceful
Absolutely.
and using what you've got.
It's about adaptability, being fluid.
So instead of trying to like overpower an obstacle,
Right.
sometimes it's about finding that workaround.
Exactly. That side door, that creative solution that other people might overlook.
Love it.
Yeah.
Embracing that whole philosophy that the obstacle is the way. Which brings us to the final thing Holiday explores.
Ooh.
The discipline of will.
This is where it gets really, really good.
Right. Because we've talked about shifting our mindset. We've talked
Yeah.
about taking action.
Yes.
But this final piece,
Yeah.
this is about cultivating that inner strength,
That resilience, that grit.
like an inner citadel that can withstand anything.
Exactly. A fortress.
Oh,
But how do you build that, right? Where do you even begin?
that's the big question, right?
Well, it starts with acceptance. It's about acknowledging that sometimes, despite our best efforts,
Right.
things aren't going to go our way.
Things fall apart.
Exactly. Life throws curveballs, right?
It's not about positive thinking.
No. Right,
It's
not.
about embracing that reality, right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes things just don't work out.
And that's okay.
It's about having that inner fortitude to weather the storm.
To come out stronger on the other side.
And it reminds me of that Nietzsche quote
Which one?
about learning to love our fate.
Yes. Amor fati.
Right, like accepting what we can't control,
And finding the meaning in it all.
finding the meaning in it.
Yeah, because that's where the real growth is, right?
That's where the good stuff is.
Not in wishing things were different.
It's about that radical acceptance.
Yes, exactly. Holiday uses that example of Thomas Edison
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
when the fire destroyed his factory.
Years of work, right. Gone.
Gone. And he was underinsured.
It's crazy, right? Most people would just crumble.
Oh, absolutely. But not Edison.
But he sees it as an opportunity.
He does.
He says this great line.
What's that?
He's like, well, at least it prevents a man from being afflicted with ennui.
He found a silver lining.
He really did. I mean, talk
Let's
about
sort of perspective.
amazing. But it speaks to this idea
Yeah.
that he understood setbacks are just, they're part of life.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Right? You're going to happen. It's not if, it's when.
It's about how you respond, not that they happen.
Exactly.
And dwelling on them, that's the real tragedy.
Right. Like that's the waste of energy.
Exactly.
So Edison, he embraces this challenge. He finds the lesson. He keeps going.
And doesn't that take so much pressure off?
It totally does.
Yeah.
Because it's not about never failing.
It's about not letting the failure define you.
Yes. Or like letting it be the ending. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a chance to start fresh,
And that takes us back to that whole inner citadel thing.
building that resilience.
Right. Like it's not about just enduring hardship.
No, it's about that inner strength.
It's about focusing on what we can control.
And sometimes that means accepting our limitations.
Right. Because we're not superhuman.
We're not.
Hmm.
And drawing strength from something bigger than ourselves.
It makes me think of James Stockdale,
Oh, yeah.
the Navy pilot.
POW.
POW, exactly.
Years in Vietnam, man.
Years, and he talked about how, it wasn't just physical struggle.
It's deeper than that.
It's deeper than that. It's not even just like blind optimism.
No, it's about confronting the brutal facts,
Yeah.
but not losing that faith.
So it's like this balance
Exactly.
of being real with yourself, but also holding on to
Hope.
faith
Yes, that hope, that faith.
and finding that purpose beyond the current circumstances.
Finding that strength in something bigger than yourself.
That was powerful, right?
It is powerful. And, it's like,
What's that?
we're not born with this.
No,
It's something that we develop over time.
it's practice.
Exactly. Like building that mental muscle.
And choosing how you're going to engage with the obstacles in your life.
And isn't that what this whole deep dive boils down to? This idea that the obstacle really is the way.
It's not something to be feared.
It's not something to be afraid of.
It's the path forward. So, to everyone listening,
Yeah.
next time you hit a roadblock,
Big or small.
remember this. You have a choice.
Love that.
You can either let it be the end
Or the beginning.
or the beginning of something even better.
It's all in how you look at it.
And remember, you're not alone in this.
So many people have done it before.
We've got countless
in
examples
history.
of people who faced those impossible obstacles.
That came out stronger.
Stronger, wiser, more successful.
You've got that same strength inside you.
That's the thing. And on that note, this has been our deep dive.
Into turning those obstacles upside down.
We hope you found it insightful,
It's inspiring.
maybe even life-changing.
Yeah. Take what you need.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep turning those obstacles into advantages.
We'll see you next time.